So I just got a new wig. Bought it on Amazon. Again, it makes me feel strange when I'm talking to the camera and I see someone who looks like a girl in the thing, and I hear my voice, and I'm like, this is not the right voice. But so I'm making the video partly because I just got the new wig and I wanted to make a video with the new wig on, and uh, talk about things like getting new wigs. Maybe that's not a good way to put it. Uh, but there is something that happens when you see yourself in a way that you haven't seen yourself before, if that makes sense. But there's also something that happens, like if I don't have a wig on or any kind of makeup and I look at my breasts in the mirror. See, I do have breasts. They don't, they don't look that great. But as soon as I put a wig on or makeup, all of a sudden they start to look like, I start to feel like a sexy woman. Even though I didn't do anything to the breasts. They're the same, as they were before. But all of a sudden they look differently. It's like my brain just says, "Oh yeah, now I can appreciate these." Whereas when I see someone who looks like a man in the mirror, my brain says, "Nah, no, these don't look good. These don't look right." So I'm saying that because, like, if I were going to try HRT as a way of discovering my true identity, as a way of finding myself, and that sort of thing, and I only relied on that, and I only ever saw a man in the mirror who had breasts, I might be convinced that I wasn't trans. So, a similar thing happened today when I got the wig. Because I do have wigs. I have two wigs. But one of them is in really bad shape. The other one was one that someone gave me that just doesn't look good on me. It's not the right shape for my head. It's not the right size for my head, you know. And when I say the shape, I mean like the cut of the wig, but the actual like netting is also too small. And the other one just looks like a mop, right? If you've seen any videos that I've made with the wig on, that's the one I'm talking about. Where usually I'll show you the side of it, because it has like there's knots in it and there's like little strands sticking out from where I can't. I'm not even going to try to untangle it. And it looks like something you should be mopping a floor with, not wearing on your head. So today I got this wig, and I put it on, and all of a sudden I see someone in the mirror that I haven't, seen before. And I look like a woman in a way that I haven't looked like a woman before. And at least not since, really not since ever. Before I like say 10 years ago, I think when I first started this, I did have quite a few wigs, but I had not started HRT yet. I don't know what happened to all those wigs. I think I threw some of them away. I think some of them just got damaged to the point that I just threw them away. I think when I moved to Atlanta, I didn't want to be carrying. I think I had like maybe 6 wigs, something like that. Somewhere in the range of 4 to 6 wigs. The wig that I have now, the one that not this one, but the one that I was talking about, the one that looks like a mop, someone gave me that one in Atlanta. No, actually, that's the one I bought at a beauty supply store. So, and when I bought it, it looked it looked decent, you know. But I remember putting it on, but I don't ever remember looking like a woman, you know, like I do now. Like when I look at the screen, I feel like I'm looking at a girl, right? Which is, even in previous videos, I've made comments that I thought, you know, I see someone who looks like a girl, but not quite like I feel like I'm looking at now. And what is strange also, though, is because of the color of this wig, I feel like I look like my mother, which is, I think, the first time I've ever thought that. Well, no, not the first time, but I think uh, the first time that I would say that I look like maybe I could be related to her, as far as like if I were her sister or something like that, or her daughter. But her hair was for a long time this color. Now it's all white, so it is a little bit difficult to remember exactly what it looked like. But and she had this kind of, I don't know what to call this cut, but this was close to what she had. A little bit. Her hair was a little bit thicker, I do believe. At some point, she. See, you can tell it's a wig when I pull it back here. Uh, but I would say that this. I feel like I'm seeing someone that I don't see in the mirror typically. I feel like I'm seeing. To call it even an aspect of myself seems strange because it doesn't even seem like me at all. You know, it's like, who is this person? You know, I don't. This isn't me. You know, this isn't who I thought I was. But yet there is something that feels. If I were to say that it feels more genuine, right? That might sound like I contradicted myself, right? Because I just said it doesn't feel like me, but yet it feels more genuine. How is that possible, right? Well, it's possible if I was never being genuine at all, and I didn't even know who I was, right? Uh, and there is a feeling of like effortlessness to it. You know, there's a feeling of I don't have to figure out how to do this, right? Uh, which was how I felt for most of my life. I felt like, you know, when I was in social situations, talking to other men or even talking to women, there was this like, I have to figure out how to do this. I have to like, uh, it's like learning how to code a computer or something, right? And I'm just learning by trial and error, right? There wasn't a, uh, it never felt natural, right? If that makes sense. So I'm not going to say that I feel natural now around people. Uh, I just got this wig. I'm actually curious to see how I feel if I were to wear this out in public. I think Pride weekend is coming up this weekend, so uh, it could be a good opportunity to wear it out in public. Of course, I'm on my way to Starbucks to work on my project. I could wear it to Starbucks and work on my project. The only issue that I have with the wig wearing it is the hair getting in my face. So apparently, I don't know if this is something that girls deal with on a regular basis, but it's not so bad now. But it could just be the way that I'm sitting. But when I first put it on, I was constantly doing like this, like just get out of my face. I do wonder if people will recognize me. You know, I wonder, like, if I were to wear this into Starbucks, would people be like, "Oh yeah, that guy that comes in here all the time, works on his computer." Let's see, it's actually the short one right here that bothers me the most. It just, there we go. Hi, me. One of the things that happens too is I start to, like, reminisce about my childhood, and I start to have these, like, uh, almost like an urge to go back in time. It's like I want to go back to elementary school, you know, and show up looking like this, right? Uh, and I was almost posted on Facebook something like, I'm not I'm not, or something like, I'm no longer convinced that I'm a woman in a man's body. Now I'm convinced that I'm an 8-year-old girl in a man's body. because uh, because I do when I put this wig on, I did see almost like this little girl who was like, I just want to go have fun at school. Which is kind of makes sense to me, because for the longest time I felt like there was like this, like, immaturity, almost like I was carrying around this child who, you know, just never grew up. But it wasn't in a Peter Pan, like, you know, growing up is bad sort of thing. It was more like I'm stuck, you know, like in a kind of my life can't move forward sort of thing. Uh, but like at 48 years old, there are times when I just feel like there's something in me that's just, you know, there's this child there that just seems to just be, you know, not wanting to, or not, I'm not going to say not wanting to, but just like not going anywhere, not growing up. You know, and you know, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with having an inner child, or there's something wrong with letting out your inner child from time to time. But what I'm getting at is, I think that, you know, I don't think I ever let out that inner child, and this is what I'm getting at, is that I feel like that's uh, partly where that sense of immaturity comes from, where that feeling of, like, you know, I want to be back in third grade, right? I want to go live third grade all over again, right? The third grade, the fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, all those, I never felt right through all of that. And there's that part of me that just wants to go back and just do it all over, you know? But also just to be a child and to, I don't know. I thought about maybe going to a store and finding like some little girl's toys or something. But really, I don't ever recall ever wanting to play with girls' toys when I was a kid. Uh, but that's partly because I felt like it's not that they were girls' toys, but I felt like they were just kind of pointless toys. Like, what do you do with a Barbie doll? I don't know. I don't know what the purpose of a Barbie doll is. Something like Legos, I enjoyed. Uh, I could build things with Legos, model airplanes. But of course, the the joy of the model airplane was in putting it together, right? That sort of thing I enjoyed. Just having once I had the plane finished, I kind of felt like, yeah, there's not much point to having it at this point, but uh, I don't know about like girls' movies. I don't even romance movies. I never really cared about those. What you might call the girl movies, the rom coms and that sort of thing. I never really cared about. Uh, but other things happen too, you know. Other realizations. Like I remember when I was in the army, in Hawaii, and I had met these two girls and at a bar, and one of the sergeants from my platoon was there with me, and I think one of the girls was interested in me, and I think the sergeant would just wanted to kind of tag along. He was like older than me and higher ranking than me. I wasn't a sergeant. I don't remember. I think he was like a either a staff sergeant or a sergeant first class. Uh, and somehow he kind of just ended up in the mix, you know, hanging out with these two girls and myself. And but he wasn't flirting with either of the girls. And at one point we were down on the beach at Waikiki, like kind of just sitting in the shallow water, and I do believe we all took our clothes off. But we didn't. Nothing happened. But as I was sitting here today with this wig on, with the makeup on, looking at my breasts in the mirror, I remembered that moment, and I all of a sudden had this like realization that I wanted him on top of me, inside me. So I don't know what happened with that. I don't really remember it all that well. Like I don't remember saying goodbye to him or what happened when we kind of went home or anything like that. I don't mean that I blacked out. I just mean that nothing happened, and I don't remember saying anything to him or anything like that. But it was a bit of an awkward situation for me because I think the whole time that he was spending time with us, I had that in my head, like, what is he doing? You know, he doesn't seem interested in the girls. He's not. If he's, you know, maybe he's just bashful. You know, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that he wanted me, but sitting here now, that's the way that my brain went. You know, my brain was like, oh yeah, that's why he wasn't flirting with the girls, because he wanted to be with you. You know. But of course, I realized that suddenly that was what I wanted. Right? So realizations like that happen, but it would not have happened if I had not gotten the wig. Right? So that's kind of the point that I'm making. There is something about seeing yourself or seeing myself look like a woman, right? That I feel like triggers these uh, things bubbling up to the surface, right? That suddenly realizing what I wanted, or you know, when I was a child, or 12 years ago or whatever, you know. And this is one of the things that confused me about the whole thing was uh, like let's say if you're a man and you're attracted to another man, isn't that enough, right? Why might a person who is a man who is attracted to another man not be aware of it? You know, there are different reasons why a man might suppress his homosexual desires. One of them is he just feels ashamed of them. You know, maybe he thinks that his parents won't accept him, or society won't accept him, or whatever. And I would say for a long time, if you had asked me why I was suppressing my homosexual desires, or why I might have, I would have said that's probably the reason. But now I suspect that the reason is that I didn't want to have sex with men as a man. And I don't, when I think about the man looking at me when he's having sex with me, I don't want him to be looking at a man, you know. And this could be why certain desires or fantasies were just, I was just unaware of them, because in my head, I couldn't picture myself doing these things. It's like I couldn't picture myself having sex with a man because when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see someone that I wanted to have sex as. So, if there's any kind of point that I'm making, it is that the physical appearance seems to have something to do with self-discovery, right? Which maybe 10 years ago, that wouldn't have had any. I would have thought, why would you need that? Why would you need to dress up as a woman to see if you're a woman or not? You know, I was watching a video on, I think it was Jungian archetypes or something like that. These two guys were talking about the psychology of Carl Jung. And one of the guys said, I really would like to meet my anima, which is the feminine side, right? So that, according to Carl Jung, all men have an anima, which is the feminine side, and all women have an animus, which is a masculine side. And in order for a person to become whole, it's necessary to integrate those aspects of the psyche. So this is what they were discussing in the video, and this guy was like, yeah, I'd really like to have an encounter with my anima. When I sit and meditate, I hope that I'll have this encounter with this suppressed feminine side. And if I could go back in time, maybe I can still find the video, but I would have commented and said, if you want to find the anima, you have to let her out, right? You go find a wig, go buy some makeup, go buy some women's clothing. Maybe you don't have to take HRT, maybe that's not necessary, but just sitting and meditating and hoping that she shows up probably is not the way to do it, right? Of course, sometimes just sitting and thinking about myself, like just imagining myself as a woman, has a similar effect. Or even, say, watching porn and imagining what it's like for the woman that I'm watching in the porn. What does it feel like to be on your back with your legs spread and some guy with a penis the size of my arm, halfway inside you? Uh, I'm still not even convinced that I'm trans, because because what I just talked about, the whole thing of the anima. That I do believe that there is this little girl inside me, right? This little 6, 7, 8-year-old girl who wants to be free to go to the community swimming pool as a girl. To go out in the nature and hunt for rocks and find the pretty rocks and make bracelets out of the pretty rocks. That was something that I did when I was younger. Not making bracelets out of rocks, just making bracelets out of flowers. I used to take alfalfa flowers. Is that what they are? Is it alfalfa or clover? I forget. Where I used to live, there was those flowers were all over the place. So I'd pick them up, put a hole in the stem, and then a hole in another stem, and a hole in another stem, and then thread them all together to make a flower bracelet or a flower necklace. Is that proof that I'm trans? Is it proof that I'm a girly man? Oh shit.